I just cannot win with this Jeep. We are post-dunking after the trip to Badlands, and I noticed that my gear oil was just dripping pretty good. And I was like, well, that's no problem, so I topped her off, and then I noticed it was coming out at an alarming rate, so check this out. We have some trusty water here. We're going to dump in the tranny to pretend like we're filling it up. Look at that. It's coming out faster than I can keep it poured in, so that whole shaft, you can see it jiggling in and out. So this is the rear section of the transmission I took out of the Jeep when I bought it way back a few years ago. I just kept around for parts. You can see there are needle bearings that run all the way around this gear, and I'm assuming that those bearings are bad, and that's what's causing this whole shaft, which comes out of the tranny right here, to jiggle in and out. So, unfortunately, because that's bad, it's slopping, it's probably messing up a little bit of this here, a little bit of this down there. So you know what that means? We're probably going to have to rip that engine back out, the whole tranny, rebuild it, throw it back in. So my rate right now, so the Jeep's got 41.9 hours on it, and the drivetrain's been out half a dozen times for the dumbest reasons. Well, I hate to do it, but we gotta do it again. We gotta rip the entire drivetrain out to fix that transmission. So these yokes right here in the mutt were originally a slip yoke because it's independent suspension, so the drive shaft would just never move, you know, might slide around a little bit, but because it's a Jeep, the drive shaft's moving in and out. We had to drill and tap these yokes right here to keep the yokes on. Now when I saw the shavings inside the transmission, I thought, okay, well, some of the shavings while drilling and tapping got into the tranny, but then there was more and more and more, which I now know was the bearings, which are worn out, causing that shaft to slide in and out. Alrighty, it's 5:34. We're gonna go for a new record on pulling out the drivetrain. Now I have cheated a little bit. I have drained the oil in the tranny, but we haven't done anything else aside from that. So I'm gonna guess we can do this in 2 hours. So let's roll. So one of the keys to ripping out this engine pretty fast is do things that need to be done that take a long time, like start draining out the radiator. While you're doing that, do other things. I do have quick connects here for the fans, which are these, the headlights and the turn signal, so those are quick there, and then these headlights are just off the junction box, so that removes the harness from the chassis pretty easy off the grill. This is the only thing that really annoys me about yanking out the engine is this fuel pump. It can't clear the battery tray, so I have to yank this off every time I take out the engine, which means I have to sand it down, new gasket. It's just annoying. So it's 2.5 hours, which isn't bad. But I did something that I don't normally do, which is take out the entire drive shaft. So between taking out these two ends, I probably have 15 minutes there. And then I did stare at my rear axle, which is screwed up, but we will show you that after we get the drivetrain out. There she is. All of her dirty glory. Or whatever. So when I'm removing an engine such as this one, my firewall is really tight around there. So I put the jack under the yoke, drop the engine down to the angle I need, pull it out with the forklift, then hook up the second strap so it's already at the angle when I go to pull it out. Otherwise, if you're trying to tilt the forks down, you can't get enough angle to get it out of there. So usually always gets hung up on these motor mounts because they stick out super far, but not terrible. This sucks. It's slopping in and out, which means that the pinion's getting not good. The axle's junk. The things you find when you go to pull out your broken tranny. Now we got a broken axle. So that explains why there's no gear oil on the rear, but the front was totally fine. So that's telling me that it all drained out right back there while we were out on the trails. So then it ran with no oil in it, definitely burned up, so that sucks. Alrighty, I'm about to show you something pretty scary. So we got the entire drivetrain off, got the tranny disconnected from the bell housing, and this is the transfer case portion of the tranny that was originally in the sub when I bought it. Now you can see the shaft is just nice, fits inside this case really good, all sealed up, whatever. You come to the case that was in the sub. She's a goner. She is sloppy and she has destroyed the case. Now when we were at Badlands, I did notice it was dripping oil on the trailer. And the tranny sounded weird and it was hard to shift. Well, I thought, well, it's probably low on oil. We only had a couple hours for the rest of the day. We just sent it. And then we ended up going back to Badlands the next weekend with Bam Bam, a couple other people. Everybody broke down the first hour, and we just kind of went putzed around all day. And the tranny was loud, but not super loud. And it was smooth shifting everything because I had it topped off with gear oil. Well, what probably happened is this thing was getting sloppy, and we just ignored it and went more and more and more, and it wallered out the case. So, real time, you guys are going to see with me what she looks like on the inside. Now, that's what it should look like minus all the dirt and debris from sitting around in the warehouse. Alright, there are definitely some needle bearings right there that are probably going to fall, but yep, they all fell. Alrighty. So what do we got? Nice watery sting. Yep, that's not good, is it? Yikes. Uh-oh. So with the shaft out, I can already see in here, there's some chunks of something. That ain't good. Now this thing was fully operational and shifting when I did take it apart, so man, this is not good. This is catastrophic grenaded transmission. So we're gonna keep digging deeper because I'm now way too curious to stop. On the main case, right through the inside of this hole, you can see it's all broken right in here. No bueno. The engine's officially out, the entire drivetrain. So I gotta decide what in the world am I doing. So I got a couple ideas. There's some simple drivetrain swap options and some very cheap ones that'll be super fun. Or we can repair it as is and just keep it a mud buggy. I guess we'll see. Well, as I sit here editing my video of the old Submarine and her fatal fate, I've got some ideas since taking video of this about a month ago. And I've got some different drivetrain options here. So option A is we just fix the Submarine as it is and I just roll with it. The problem is the thing does not have a low range. So we've got two different swap options if that's the route that I'm going to take, and I've got it all priced out right here. Spent lots and lots of time on everybody's websites comparing adapters, finding the cheapest thing. So Option A is to go 4-cylinder with the Willys F-head 4-cylinder engine, overhead valves, 75 horse. We're currently running 70 horse, stock is 60 horse. And with the F-head, we can buy a T98 transmission, which stock Willys train is about this big, 3-speed. T98 was an option where it's about this big, 4-speed, super low granny gear. And we can get a crawl ratio of 85 to 1 on 538 gears, which you can't go down the road really, especially as it is right now. And this gear ratio is somewhere around 30 to 1 right now, so that's over, double, almost triple the crawl speed. And the cool thing about the 4-cylinder is because it's a single header exhaust, is I can run a split manifold system where you pull the valve and then it routes up to the hater pipe, starts flapping away when we do that. Stock axle, stock steering, don't have to mess with cutting the firewall, yada yada. Super easy swap, however, sort of underwhelming at the end because it's still a 4-cylinder and it's kind of a one-trick pony off-road toy. Now the waterproofing with F-head's very easy because I just take my spark plug wires and my distributor and stuff like that, slap it on the new engine. In the right hand column I've got the F-head engine, the middle column is V6, the left is V8. I've already rolled out the V6 and if you're going to do it, let's do it. So if we do the V8, I've already been over this in another video. You can have power steering, power brakes, you can have stronger axles, which means I have like a 410 or 373 gear ratio, and that will really help being able to drive down the road. Especially my goal is to go through the Rubicon, and once you pop up to the other side you gotta drive all the way back around to your truck and trailer. That would be sweet with the 373s and the V8. And it'll still be waterproof no matter what we choose. It will be waterproof. The question is how much time I'm willing to spend on it, but I'm really leaning towards the V8.